Hello, hello. If you are joining me, say hi. I'm going to make sure that my stream is all set up good. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. We're just going to make sure that everything is good before I start getting into this because I don't want it to freak out. So let's make sure that I'm there. I know that there's like a 20-second lag for me seeing anybody's comments. I don't know why, like it shows it to me on the replay more than it shows it to me right here. But yeah, let me know if you're joining me. If you do have any questions or anything, like also let me know that too. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna probably start hearing myself talk here in a second, so I'm gonna make sure. Okay, good. I heard myself talk. So today I want to really kind of dive into this open emotional center. This is the first little human design snippet video that I'm doing. And I just felt like doing the emotional center first. A lot of people either start at the root center and work their way up, or they start at the head center and they work their way down. I'm not either one of those. I pick and choose where I want to go. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you have any questions about or let me know if you do have an open emotional center too. I was gonna say emotional. I don't know. Who knows? But so this center is really probably one of the most misunderstood ones, because you would think that a lot of the people that, hey Jenny, you would think that a lot of the people that have an open emotional center wouldn't be the ones that are always being told that they react too much, but this is totally the opposite. The people who have a defined emotional center know how they're feeling and can tell you how they're feeling if they want to. The people who have, the people who have a defined one also feel like they know exactly what they're feeling at all times, or they know the exact emotion that they're feeling when they feel it. So if you were to take this like a color, if you're feeling blue, you know that you're feeling blue. If you're feeling green, you know that you're feeling green. Like it's literally like happiness, anger, sadness, whatever it is, you know that you're feeling it and you can feel it in the way that you're supposed to feel it. So it's defined to each person. It's not like, emotions are literally relative to the person that is feeling it, but it still feels that exact way and you can put a name on it for yourself. The people who have an open emotional center feel the entire range of emotions within that emotion itself. So within, hey Angie, so within the color, so you know that you have blue, but what shade of blue is it? Literally, it can be anything from the lightest, littlest part of blue all the way to the deepest, darkest indigo like type of color of blue, and everything and anything in between that. So the entire spectrum is felt by the open emotional centers. These are the most these are the most empathic people on the planet. And we are here to literally hold space so that defined emotional centers can understand what they're feeling. Your open centers are literally a mirror for the people that are around you. So I actually find that this is very helpful in my relationship because I've always been told that I'm a very emotional person, or that I'm a very, I have very intense emotions. When I'm sitting in a room alone, I don't really have any emotions. I don't really have a baseline. I don't really I'm just content. Like, it is my natural state to be thinking and to be content and to not have to worry about what I'm feeling because it's not really there. In a sense, it's not that you don't have feelings. It's just that you're not feeling anything particularly at that point. But when somebody walks into the room, you start amplifying their energy. And in my relationship, I have an open emotional center and my boyfriend has a defined emotional center. So even though he doesn't always know, he feels it and he knows what he feels, but consciously he can't put it into words sometimes. So when he's around me and he gets frustrated, or there's something wrong, literally I will amplify that energy within my own open emotional center and I will reflect it back to him. So it instantly feels like if he's at a 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, if he's at a 2, it will feel for me like a 6. And it literally like takes up my whole body, and it makes me feel very frustrated, very anxious, very nervous. Like there's just so much going on within that emotion, depending on what it is, that I have to I literally will turn to him randomly and say, okay, like what's going on? Like what's wrong? Like, because of the fact that I know that something is wrong because I feel it and it's not mine. So, and it's taken us a little bit to be like, okay, listen, like I feel what you're feeling. I just need you to say it and talk about it so we can work through it. It's not that I'm judging your feelings. It's just that I feel it and I don't want to feel it anymore. Like, stop it, make it stop, So if you have an open emotional center and you've ever been told that you have very strong emotions, this is why. Like, you will literally amplify the emotions that are happening around you. So one of the good ways for this to go in your relationships, if you have a defined partner and you're an open emotional center, literally start having conversations with them about the fact that you have this. Angie says, OMG this, right. Like, literally talk to them about the fact that, like, listen, I understand what you're feeling, but it feels way worse to me, and I need us to talk about this in order for us to alleviate this so I can go back to feeling normal. And if you want to point him to him, her, whoever it is, if you want to point them to, human design and learning a little bit more about amplification, by all means, go for it. But just having these conversations about okay, what am I feeling right now? So that's for the defined and open. And it's a really good symbiotic relationship because of the fact that whoever is defined where you are open, they can literally it's like having a purse and dumping all of that crap out, dumping it all out, them sifting through it to figure out what's going on. And then you being like, okay, this is a really good way for us to get this all out. Now let's clean this up a little bit and reorganize it so that way it's better. So that way you don't feel this way next time. So let me know if that makes sense. I love using metaphors. So I'm literally watching myself talk about it and I'm laughing about it. So yeah, so that's what happens with defined spaces. And this doesn't have to be for the emotional one. It can literally be for any of the spaces that you have. It just depends on what that space particularly represents. So for the emotional center, this is literally dumping out all of the emotions that they're feeling at the time and dumping out literally all of the thoughts, all of everything that it is, and understanding, you helping them sift through and understanding what it is that's leading them to this feeling. So even though they can feel what they're feeling, they don't always understand it. We can feel it, amplify it, understand it, and be like, get this out of me because this is painful. We feel it on a whole different level. So we can really help them. Now, if you have two open emotional centers, if you're out in the world separately, let's say you work at home, but they work in a workplace that has, a ton of people around, or let's just say a cubicle. They can bring something home since they've been around people the entire day and they've been amplifying other people's energy, other people's emotions and everything. Somebody who was feeling like a 2 frustrated at work then puts that onto them and also makes them feel like a 6. So they're walking around like a 6 until they get home. And when they get home and they're a 6 and they're frustrated, you pick up on that because you're also an open emotional center. And you might amplify that to be a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10, literally, and you will keep bouncing that back and forth, and it will keep amplifying and amplifying until it gets talked about and something gets resolved. And this could also, they might think that it's something that happened at work. They might think that it's the traffic. They might think that it's something else when really it wasn't even their emotion to begin with, and they just picked it up along the way. And this, you can see how if it goes down this chain of okay, they picked it up here, they think it's all these things, they come home, you get frustrated because they don't know. And like it just keeps snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. So the biggest thing here is to really feel like, or not really feel like, really try to not absorb and be a sponge for the things that are happening around you. So knowing this while you're out at work and you're feeling this energy and you feel, because usually you can tell if it's yours or if it's not yours, depending on your level of like personal development into emotions and understanding emotional intelligence and understanding empathy and all of this stuff. Usually the people who feel the amplified emotions have enough self-awareness to realize, okay, there's something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's something. You have that little inkling. So really just, talking about the fact like, okay, I need to not be a sponge. Like, this is what's happening. It's theirs. Jenny asked, how can you keep it outside? So this is like, it's not necessarily keeping it out. It's filtering it and not attaching it to yourself. You can put up shields. You can like energetically, like you can even literally like intentionally, visualize like a zipper, a big zipper that goes from your pelvic bone all the way up. And you can literally like just, zip yourself up if you want to. I've actually known people that has really helped for. But in other ways, like you can try to really just try to like keep releasing. Like think about it. If you're feeling it, think about, okay, first, where is this manifesting in me? Second, who am I around right now? Third, is this mine or is this somebody else's? And fourth, how can I release this? No matter if it's yours or somebody else's, it's always good to release it. If it's talking to somebody about it, this is usually the best way for everybody, is just being able to talk about it and literally expelling the energy through your voice and through your breath. I mean, you can even do like bellows breath for yoga, and it's just breathing in through your nose and out through your nose in a rhythmic way, but it's like literally expanding your entire lung capacity to breathe it out and like intentionally think like, okay, I am getting rid of this energy that is no longer mine. It just needs to leave. Like that's a good way to really expel it out. Literally, it's whatever works for you, what feels the best for you, but not being a sponge. So when you're in this open emotional center relationship and you have both people that are this self-awareness, first of all, and then also being able to talk about it and not attach it to either yourself or the other person that you're with. Because if you were frustrated at work and you came home and you feel like you're frustrated at your spouse for something, it may not be them, so it's figuring out that awareness to let it go without attaching it to yourself or that other person, because it doesn't have to be either one of yours. It could just be something that you picked up along the way. And then also if you have two people, just because, this is about open emotional centers, I do want to talk about two defined. So what's going on with the people that have a defined emotional center and the other person also has a defined emotional center? You both are going to be feeling tense, for lack of a better phrase. You are both going to be feeling some sort of tenseness in your relationship, in yourself, whatever it is, and you won't always know what it's about. You may end up holding on to things a little bit more, just because of the fact that you're not entirely sure what's going on. So you don't want to talk about it. And then the other person feels the same way, so they don't want to talk about it. And then there's like, this miscommunication, and it's not necessarily that you're frustrated with the other person, but you're frustrated with yourself within the relationship. So it can be very interesting to have both the same way. And it's literally the same thing, like needing to talk to somebody who has that open emotional center to where you can dump everything out and sift through it and find what's right and what's feeling correctly and what you can release and, what you can still hold on to, and not being so centered in the emotion itself that you won't talk about it. It's not bad that you're feeling a certain emotion. It's just that you need to figure out what it is so that way it doesn't impact other things. And this goes for any emotions, any emotional open centers or defined centers. Figuring out where it is, figuring out what it's about, figuring out if it's yours or if it's not yours for open centers, and figuring out how to release it. because we hold so much in our emotional centers. And a lot of the people that I work with, I actually find that they have sacral, like a sacral blockage, solar plexus, and their throat is very, like all of them are pretty blocked. So it also messes up the rest of them. So really focusing on like trying to release the things that are not yours, release the things that are blocking you, and trying to like rebalance with that. And you can look up chakra balancing stuff on Google and in YouTube. I do a chakra like balancing like binaural beats meditation every day for like 30 minutes. So yeah, I hope this didn't, I was trying to keep this as short as possible, but you know, if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, if you also have questions about like a different center specifically, let me know and we will go over it. So I'll see you next time.